Hello Libra, and welcome back to Path of Enlightenment Tarot. I hope you guys are doing well. For those of you returning to the channel, welcome back, and for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. It's a complete joy to have each and every single one of you here. This message is going to be for you, Libra. Libra, this is going to be a video for your North and your South node. As we know, in case you don't know, the North and South node are getting ready to move July 16th, July 17th, from Taurus and Scorpio into Aries and Libra. This is a significant shift, a time phase of many things closing out as we start new cycles as well. And I felt that it was important to get a video out to each and every single one of you in regards to that shift, because it is going to be very important for all of us in general, in the collective. Libra, I was going to say something and I forget what it was. So it must not be important, right? I will say this. I thank you guys for sticking around. For those of you who have patiently waited for me to get some videos out, as part of that shift, I am part of that collective. I had a lot of things happening and going on that needed my full time and attention. And thank you for your patience and understanding through that. And now we are back to a new normal. We'll call it a new normal, right? So Libra, this will be for your sun, your moon, rising. I would say to you to pay attention mostly to your sun and your rising sign in regards to these videos if you're checking out other placements. Cross watcher if you are checking out your Libra, welcome to the channel as well. And of course, guys, always discern the messages accordingly. You can also check me out at holisticallyzenwv.com. A full list of products and services that I offer are available on there, and you can check that out as well. And personal readings are also open again. So you can also check out the description box below for how to get a hold of me in the description box and then the about section of the page. Okay. So Libra, when I was 2 minutes of just blah, 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 resolution, very powerful messages I felt came in for you as, and I've got the chills already, golly. I think for you all, the way Spirit is giving it to me is the last 18 months that Taurus and Scorpio, enrolling the North and the South node, has been very much about challenges. Whether you've been the one inflicting the challenges or you have been the one on the receiving end of the challenges. Moving forward, it's going to be about finding resolution and peace. And I think across the board for some of you, it may be very simple. For others of you, maybe not so much. Because it's really going back in time. And I'm going to tell you a lot of this that I'm picking up on. Again, massive chills, mother figures in your life. So this is almost like a closing out of a cycle, obviously, with this movement that we have going on in the middle of the month. But it's almost like you're reflecting upon, Spirit is saying, the actions of others. And with that, I'm going to say to you to go back to your childhood. The way this feels to me as if, even though, how do I put this to you guys? What you're facing right now, or what you have faced in the last year plus, has somehow in some way been related to maternal figures in your life. Whether it's mother, grandmother, a friend that's played that role. And it was about how you've been taught to live your life. And now it's about recognizing the conflict that may have come with that role, or a divine feminine. It doesn't have to be a female, right? But it's also about understanding what those parts taught you. And now you may be seeing in your own life at this time that the way that you were taught to do things, or those ingrained behaviors, right? The conditioning that we encounter growing up, they don't work. Spirit is saying it's not the same as it was before. So maybe for a maternal figure in your life, or a divine feminine in your life, maybe during a decade, a time frame, right? An era, generation, we'll say, that was working behavior that was feasible. But now it's not that, right? The collective, the conscious collective is waking up. That they're the old outdated traditions. And as I say this, I think about the Hierophant, I think about the Justice card, right? That's you, Libra. That's also the energy of Taurus. Those old conditioned ways of thinking, those old patterns, those old beliefs. There's a recognition within you that it doesn't work. Some of you are going to be in a state of flow with this and be accepting to the idea of surrendering that. For others of you, you're going to fight it. But remember, we're starting a new karmic cycle. So you get to decide what end of that karmic will you show up on at the end of this. And you also get to create, your karma moving forward as well. Do you want to repeat cycles? Do you want to keep doing it over and over and over again? This is a period of Spirit is calling it transformational wealth. I don't feel like that wealth is tied to pentacles. I feel that wealth comes in the sense of wisdom and acknowledgement. Very different types of energy. Our wealth, we can be abundantly wealthy emotionally, right? We can be abundantly wealthy mentally. We could always be in a good thought. We could be abundantly wealthy in various areas, but I'm going to reiterate to you that it is not financial. It's about becoming aware. So those are the messages that Spirit has started this off before we got started, and then just now. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and throw some cards down, see what else comes up. Strictly intuitive prior to that. So I thank Spirit for all of that as well. I'm going to put these cards back because, once again, too many fell. But it says the witness. And as soon as I seen that, I heard Spirit say, you're going to be the witness to your own change. It's almost like you're witnessing your own suffering too by these decisions or the way life has played out. Again, that old conditioning. It's not just you living in it. All of a sudden, there's this eye-opening experience. Good gosh. That you're now aware. You are bearing witness to maybe parts of you that you chose not to see before. Things that you were in denial about for some time. And I'm going to take that, the serpent, another 10. It was 64 and 46, so those numbers may be imperative to you. And I tell you, as I started these readings, a lot of 10s and 1s have come out. I'm not surprised, Libra, to see a 10 sitting here for you. The interesting thing about this card is, depending on how you look at it, the snake is two-sided, or you could say at some point that it ends, but it's really hard to see where it begins and where it ends, right? I feel like for you, in the past, something may have started. And from the point that it started, it snowballed. Like, it could have gone either direction. It could have been a good thing. It could have been a bad thing. It could have taken a positive and a negative route, or a negative route, I should say. But somewhere in the mix of all of that, something got muddled. Something got misconstrued, twisted. Couldn't pick a direction at the end of the day. The thing about this serpent is, he's not biting his own tail. It's not the infinity. It's like a divide. It's like a game of tug and war. One person's going one way, the other person's going the other way. Nobody could just meet in the middle. And it's like, I don't know if through that, if you've lost yourself or lost the sense of who you were, it's almost like getting caught up in various things. Talked about going back to childhood. There is the child and there is the drum. It's like beating along to what you've always known, right? Just talked about that. It's going back to the inner child. And I think that wounds from childhood, there's been this need to defend who you are, defend the way you've done things, why you've done them the way you have. But I think that the question, and I've seen a lot of this come out too, is the idea of reciprocity. That's 6. 6 is also the nostalgia of going back to our childhood memories too, Libra. But with this serpent, if there's been two-faced kind of energy, you know, if there's lies or saying something and then your words and your actions not matching, and, you know, perhaps at 10:10, by the way, on the timer, perhaps if this isn't you, it could be somebody else, right? Cross-watcher. But it's like biting your own nose off to spite your face. It's lies and manipulation being illuminated. Say one thing but do another. Do as I say, not as I do kind of energy attached to these snakes. Quite frankly, they give me like the heebie-jeebies on here. They're very uncomfortable. And I think that the thing that's really outstanding to me in this card, and Spirit pointed my attention to this line. If you look through these snakes, I'm going to show you the card again. It almost looks like a single stream of water that runs, right? And water signifies our emotions, right? You think of cups energy, it's our emotions. There's barely any emotion there. I also heard Spirit say it's just spineless, right? You think about snakes, they're spineless individuals. They don't have them. They just kind of slither their way through life. So whether this was you, Libra, or somebody that you were dealing with, whatever this is, this third party energy that I'm also picking up on, Spirit just said there's a separate distinction of who needs to be where. So I don't know what that specifically means, but I am the conduit for that message, so there you go. Do with it as you wish. But it's like there could be two people or two particular situations dealing with another one person or situation. It's almost like this split in energies where everybody's just headed in an opposite direction. There's a need to ground your energy and ask yourself, Spirit said, if you're doing it for the right reasons. This to me is a hardcore self-actualization, Libra. Very interesting energy. All right, so the present right now for Libra. Keep going. You know, I don't know about where you guys are at, but last night we had a really intense summer storm, right? So you think about like the rain, the lightning, the thunder, and it struck back a memory, and this card that I just seen in here made me think of that, because it reminds me of cleansing. I remember telling my grandmother when I was probably like 5 or 6 years old, somewhere in that ballpark, that I believed that the rain was God's tears, that he was, whether he was upset or sad, but he was trying to wash us and trying to cleanse us. And when I heard that thunder last night, whether it was like his anger or frustrations with the way people behave sometimes, or the need to cleanse us and put us on a separate vibrational frequency, it made me think of this cleanse. And you think about this shift, right? It's clearing out these old karmic cycles and patterns and allowing us to start anew, focusing on that Aries and Libra kind of energy for all the signs. But it just, you know, chills again. But I felt like I needed to say that to you all. All right, current energy for Libra, please, under this, the nose. Energy for Libra under the nose, Spirit. These cards are still, whenever they're ready. Whenever they're ready. Too many again. I just want to say this to you. Same types of cards. The Child comes out. Those 6s come out again, so 6s could be very important to you. And I'm seeing a lot of repeating energy too, from some of the other reads. All right, for Libra, the Sweat Lodge. What do you do when you go to the Sweat Lodge? You go in there to heal, right? You go in there to figure yourself out. You go in there to pull those, you know, for lack of a better term, demons out of you, if you will, right? You think about the ayahuascas and the medicine that they use to take you into and invoke your connection to spirit, to propel you forward, for you to have a deeper spiritual understanding of who you are and what within you needs to go. It is the release of the ego. Libra, you're on the cusp, you're on the precipice is what Spirit is giving me to this massive change. I will forever reiterate, probably every reading forever, because it's just how I see it. If you have done things from the right space, the right intention, you cannot go wrong. If you've done it from a place of your ego, selfishness, arrogance, righteousness, there's going to be karma attached to that because the scales have to balance. There's no way outside of that. There may be a message in the near future throughout this shift. Again, I've got chills so bad with you guys. I've had them with the other readings, but this takes the cake. I'm not going to lie. It's probably going to pertain to your stability. So whether this is a message, a phone call, a letter, an email, a person just coming to you and saying, hey, I have this information. It's going to be the catalyst that sends you into dissolving the ego. You're walking into a new dawn of light. And when you come out of this, you are not going to be the same person. And I could say this, for the Scorpio and Taurus collective, I'm sure, after the last 18 months that they've been under the Scorpio and Taurus North and South nodes. And I'm hearing you've chose to walk certain parts of this journey alone. Some of you may need to go this next step alone. Because it's really hard to find out who you are at the core of your being when there's outside distractions. And I'm not saying if you're married, go get a divorce. You can't do it with them by your side. That's not what I'm saying. It is the need for self-care, the need for self-observation, the need for realization, the need of understanding of who it is that you are and what it is that you're doing in your life that's going to make these changes happen. For some of you, maybe you're not in relationships. You may just choose to kind of distance yourself from friends and family and go it alone. But also understand, and I think I said this either for Aries or Scorps, part of the spiritual journey, when you start to ascend, when you start to figure this out, the journey can feel very lonely. Because it's not anybody else's journey, it's yours. It's yours to figure out, right? There's nothing that anybody else can really say or do. It's you having to face accountability and responsibility for where you've been. And, I think back when I said to you about the childhood situation, right? We're obviously not responsible for the conditioning that we're taught as children, right? We're in these dynamics that, maybe we've had a great mother and a bad father, or a bad father and a fantastic mother. Who knows, right? But the circumstances that you're dealt, it's like teaching your children right from wrong. You correct your children at this younger age because they just don't know any better, right? Same to be said for you, Libra, that you just didn't know. But then once your child gets to a certain age that they fully understand the consequences of, Spirit is saying truth and lies and yes and no's and the result of not being, Spirit is saying fair. Thank you, Spirit. Then they are responsible, right? Then you expect your children to be responsible in their decision-making processes. So once you learn from right and wrong, granted our minds are so young and we don't fully develop mentally until we're 25 years old, or at least our brain doesn't, I should say. It's hard to make sound decisions all the time, right? We'll say that. Like, we're human. We're still human, nature of how we think about things. We're young. We're the fool that just started out, right? So it may not, it's not up, it's not your fault of the circumstances, but it is your responsibility to heal it. Okay? It's part of the soul contract that you sign coming into this world. Just all there is to it. And you can choose to never live in that again, or you can choose to do the same thing over. The one thing, and chills again. Thank you, Spirit. I'm going to freeze this whole reading, guys. Thanks. But they're giving me, oh gosh, and it just went away that quickly too. Spirit said this is to heal a legacy. Maybe you're not proud, and I'm speaking this right through as Spirit gives me. Maybe you're not proud of the way things were done before. Maybe you're realizing the faults in the way that things were done before. It doesn't work anymore. And it's really hard when we believe in something so much. You know, so we talk about the maternal figure, as I started out this reading with. If we've seen them in this perception of who it is that they were and how they interacted with us and who we thought they were and how we built up this really lovely picture of everything that they were, right? And then all of a sudden they do one thing and we're like, whoa, wait a second, take a step back. And you're like, shit, you're not at all who I thought you were. That rocks our core, right? It's like we're coming out of that bubble of this idea or perception of who we thought these people were in our lives. And now all of a sudden we're recognizing this is not what I thought it was. That is a tower moment. Falsified structures, right? This message coming in for you, Libra, is going to change that structure. You're walking in to that ayahuasca, that retreat, that sweat lodge. Be prepared to do the work. There's no denying the fact that there's going to be a lot of work ahead of you. And Spirit is giving me specifically 2 years out, you will not be the same person. You are going to have to ride through the troubled waters. It's almost like stepping into an emotion you maybe didn't know that you had. What is to come under the Aries Libra? All right, Libra. The eagle. Eagle breaks down to 7. Coyote. You know, I think about those two, and they're hunters, right? They come out at night. They hunt. They go after their prey. What I'm going to say to you, both of these cards feel somewhat angry to me, for whatever reason. You look at the eye of the eagle here, very sharp, very, very pointed. You see that? He's very serious. Do not, so many messages coming in, holy moly. Do not let yourself fall into victim mode. You're not a victim. You're not a victim. And I feel like that's going to be very important. It's almost like, for some of you, the tables are turning. Where the hunted, you know, the prey becomes the predator and vice versa kind of thing, right? The hunter becomes the hunted. Be like a deer running us down as humans with a rifle kind of thing, right? The tables are turning. That's why I'm asking you to really reflect. Where have you been in this last cycle? Because it's going to be, I think, a pretty strong indicator of what challenges you're going to face moving forward. And I will tell you, I don't care if you're on the good side of karma or bad side of karma, period. There's always going to be challenges, and I do believe that's something I said to Scorpio as well. There will always be challenges, because sometimes we are meant to be used to teach others lessons, and vice versa. So, but I think that through this, there is a new knowledge. It's almost like you feel like you have to, if you've been the one to feel like Spirit's saying you've had free reign, you might feel like you have to defend yourself. Like you may, this whole energy flips, Libra. And I almost feel like at some point throughout this, in the future energies, it's almost like you learn to be docile. Spirit said speaking only when you're spoken to. It's going to change how you interact with the world around you. your perception. It's almost like you feel like you have to have ears and eyes everywhere. Constantly. Alright, let's see what else is going on here. Spirit for Libra, please. Libra of the past. Libra, I think that the one thing with you guys, like, you know, you are representative of love and friendship and stable foundations, homes, you know, the comforts of life. It reminds me a lot of Taurus in some sense. But, you know, compassionate, it's supposed to be. And I think that you think that, and I don't mean this, I'm not trying to kick your butts, the life should always just kind of be beautiful. Or what your definition of beautiful is. May not have had to sit too much with difficult situations for some time because it was easy to live, I don't want to, hate to say it, an illusion for yourself, but like a sense of denial as to where some of the attributes of who you were coming. Another seven's very, very apparent, put it that way. Trapped in that energy with the serpent. For some of you, you could have painted yourself into a corner when it came to ideas, thoughts, too good to be true kind of energies. And now it's like going into defensive mode of understanding, again, the need to protect yourself. Libra, you're protected. Good, bad, in between. You're protected to a sense, but they're also going to let karma have its way. I'm going to say you're protected, but yet karma's going to have its way with you. Like it's never so bad that you're just going to, you know, like lay down and die, right? It's not like that. It's very simple that you've painted yourself into some type of internal prison in the past. Whether it's, and to me, it feels mental more than anything. This could be mentally painting yourself into a corner that I just feel this massive need for you to like protect yourself, to defend yourself, whatever that means for you specifically. Part of that moving forward with that eagle is to take the risk. You think that he flies, right? He trusts that his wings are going to guide him, that he's going to get from that tree branch way up there to that ground to pick up that mouse, right? It's free falling and letting yourself free fall into the divine flow of life. It is the need and the art of surrendering yourself to something where you are releasing control. That sweat lodge is going to be the thing that breaks you wide open. I almost feel like they're beating on a Scorpio right now. If you think you've been broken open before, just wait. It's what Spirit's saying. If you think you've been broken open before, just wait. It's a different type of open. All right, let's do a little bit of clarifying, guys. I'm going to wrap this up. We're at a half an hour already. I heard, should I stay, should I go? I feel like your feet, I'm hearing from Spirit, you feel like your feet are being put to the fire right now. And as I flip that over, the Knight of Wands comes out sideways. To take action, to not to take action, to run, to hide. That back and forth, that pulling and that pushing and pulling energy, right? You think about the Knight of Wands, he takes off, then I've got this bird in a cage. He's not going anywhere. His wings are clipped, right? So it's this to stay, to go. It's kind of reminding me of the Two of Pentacles kind of energy. That snake having the two ends, can't tell where it starts and where it ended, right? Same concept right there. So the need to understand. The Knight of Cups in the sideways position with the Eight of Wands, crossing those. For some of you, your decisions could have been emotionally charged rather than from the logical sense. But it's like, that's where, and when I say emotionally charged, I'm standing by the simple fact that I said a lot of this is mental. But that inability to temper those emotions, to slow down that emotional response, to slow down that need to just dive into whatever it was, whether it was an argument or a situation or whatever. There was this need to slow down, and I don't know that you did. It was the need to learn how to master the pain of your reactions at the end of the day. Because it's like anytime something would come to an end, it was like you found a way, and I'm hearing you found a way to resurrect it. Understand, Libra, that things, people, places, whatever, aren't always supposed to be in our lives. Some, yes. Others, no. But I feel like every time that you would step into this type of energy, something was there to pull you back into it. Again, I'm going to tell you, it's ego. Because we can sit there and go, I know this doesn't make sense. This is not for me, and this is not worth my time. And yet the ego goes, but I'm going to prove that I was right. So then the ego jumps back in and goes, watch this. So we forget about why we should not react. We forget that we should not just react, but respond with emotional intelligence into the situations that we're dealing with. And that quick acting behavior, mental capacity to just allow the ego to jump in and run away with us has brought us to our own imprisonment. Now it's like you're stuck to something that you can't get out of. And I'm going to reiterate to you, look at your maternal aspects of your life. How do they relate to this? Do you see things repeating? Because if you do, it's time to change those. Okay? Ten of Pentacles. I just heard from Spirit, invest into yourself. The Devil in the reverse. I'm going to take both of them. The Nine of Cups, the Tower, and I talked about that sweat lodge being a tower moment, right? The need for self-introspection. It is a hard freaking thing to do, right? What's on the other side of it? The sun, because it illuminates all the things that we need to address, right? The Ten of Pentacles and the Devil in the reverse, the Nine of Cups. Talked about that Two of Pentacles back here. It fell out of the deck. There it is. We talked about that. I'm going to leave that there. And there's that Seven of Wands. Another 7. Libra, you got your hands in too many pots, would be the best way I think that I can explain this. I think that what you thought fulfilled you or moving through this, and this may be a realization you're having right now, what you thought fulfilled you, you're finding that it doesn't. I think that maybe things that you've tied yourself to, that trapped kind of energy, you're recognizing that it's not wish fulfillment. That maybe it's just not what you thought it was going to be. That it's changing, and it's changing your perception. For some of you, I think you shut down and you go into protection mode. What that tells me is it's time to heal. It's time to heal the things that brought you to this point. It is the self-discovery. It is stepping in and transforming and transmuting that energy for a higher purpose. Because what you thought was your wish fulfillment got spilled. Cups got knocked over. That Tower is catastrophic change. That sweat lodge is catastrophic change. And you've got the Tower with the Seven of Wands and the Devil coming out here. You're going to be forced to let go of the things that bind you to other things, whether it's people, places, situations, again, right? It doesn't matter what aspect of your life it is. You are going to be forced to let go. You're going to be forced to surrender. You're going to be forced to step into this risk energy. You're going to have to just let go and jump and trust that it's going to work out for your higher good. Talked about the need to be on the right side of karma. Did you try to cheat your way through something? Did somebody you're dealing with try to cheat their way arrogantly through something? Because, you know, I think that people in general, right, they lie, they cheat, they steal, they do shitty things. They think because nobody else sees them do it, or it can't be proven per se, that there's nothing else keeping score. But there is. Whether you call it God, the universe, your spirits, your soul, your karma, it's still there. That somebody else is counting. Something else is counting. They're keeping score. So there's a need to be aware of that. With this risk, we've got the Six of Wands, the Nine of Pentacles, the Eight of Pentacles, and then we've got the Temperance card and the Ace of Cups coming out. Libra, I will say this to you. I can't wait to see who you are in 2 years. Truly. Because when you learn to let go, you get to rebuild something that's worth working on for you. You will find balance on the other side of that. This Temperance, you know, again, chills. She provides great enlightenment. Sagittarius energy, and just while I'm on that note, Capricorn, Scorpio, Sag energy, you may be dealing with one of those signs in particular that are sticking out to me. And I got the same thing from the Serpent and the Sweat Lodge, Scorpio and Capricorn. But that Temperance angel, she brings in a lot of peace. She brings in a lot of balance. She also invokes change. She breaks down to a 5. You are destined for this change, Libra. Because it's almost like through that enlightenment, it opens you up to love. Because once you start to forgive and heal any area of your life in general, but especially with this reading, when it comes to the maternal figures in your life, it opens you up to new beginnings from the heart space. And look at that. The Ace of Cups, the Chariot, and then we've got Queen of Cups, so Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy, with the star behind it and the freaking Empress. But it's going to require you to let go. It's going to require you to let go of the ideas, the perception of what you've had. But it's positive forward movement. You've got 5 of some of the prettiest cards in the deck. But that star is also healing. Healing those maternal wounds. Picking a new direction to go. And doing it without hanging on to the massive need of control to get there. That ego can be our best friend and our worst enemy. I've said it before in other videos. Say it again. I was taught, play nice with it. Don't let it rule who you are. It doesn't matter if you're right. It's like, it makes me think of people that get in fights on Facebook. You know, someone will say something about, you know, who knows what. And then someone's going to chime in. And they argue their point. And then the next person's arguing their point. And everybody is just going at each other, right? Because they all think they're right. What they're doing is showing what a bunch of jackasses they look like at the end of the day. Why do you need to be right? Why does it have to be your way? Why can't you see it from another person's perspective? That's how that feels to me, Libra. Okay? So I'm going to get you guys a card of advice. So, Spirit, card of advice for Libra. Oh my gosh. They insist on throwing you guys out the whole deck. Libra. I think part of it too is my hands. 7 blessings of Eve, huh? Interesting. Sovereign Queen, 7 blessings of Eve. Alright, Libra, let's see. My hands are so small and these card decks are so big. There we go. I know I'm going to pronounce this wrong, so bear with me. All right. The card is number 33. So I'm going to say you once again, and I think I said this earlier, and if I didn't, I apologize. You have a 3 underlining the Shaman's Oracle deck. Another 3 here as under, the overall, we'll call it. It's learning how to work better with others. Learning to collaborate in a sense that can bring peace instead of entrapment for everybody involved, okay? Or you may be focused on just 3 people in your life, and one of those are including you. So it's very interesting. So vulva of Sidir, I don't think I said that right, but vulva. Okay. Number 30. And I can't show you the cards because there's nudity, but they're beautiful cards. It's the White Light Oracle deck. We don't need to get flagged. Okay, so your inner spiritual power can heal circumstances in your life and our world in ways greater than you realize. Journey within to gain clarity and conscious redirection of your inner energies towards what you wish to manifest. Do not try to control what is happening. There you go. Instead, work to bring positive influence to bear so that you may contribute constructively towards shaping the outcome for the greatest good. From the Norse traditions of Scandinavia comes the sorcery of Sadir, the practice of cracking open an egg in order to read and also shape the future. The egg is a symbol of infinite divine potential and the beginning of new life. Where does that beginning of new life start? With maternal, right? Sadir is a mysterious soothsaying or visionary practice which also involves shamanic healing to divine an appropriate pathway through times of trouble and communal strife. Through prayer, chant, and binding magic, as well as visionary practices in an altered state, all of which are supported by focused collective intention, a powerful healing takes place. The appearance of this oracle indicates that your soul's talents, whatever they may be, can be of an influence in the world. If you dedicate yourself to personal development for the greater good, you can contribute to the spiritual evolution of humanity. Even if our intentions are pure and believing we know that what should happen to whom and when is the working of the ego and not the soul. We may want the best for all beings, but we cannot know why their path is unfolding as it is or what their soul needs to learn. Sadir is a practice of shadows and spellcasting, binding, and release, which could be used for higher purpose or personal gain. It dwells upon the borders of morality. The spiritual maturity of the practitioner will determine whether its effects are for the good or ill. This oracle advises us that good intentions are not enough to ensure the outcome of our efforts is beneficial. We need the wisdom that comes through surrendering into divine intelligence. With an awakened heart, it is possible to be a clear channel for spiritual light in this world, dedicating our soul talents to overcoming hate and divisiveness. Traditionally, the practitioner of Sadir was a spiritual leader known as Vulva or soothsayer or seer, Spakona, woman of prophecy, or Siokona, woman of magic. She would not work alone but called upon community members to empower the practice. When we choose to align our actions with our heart's truths, we become the spiritual birth mothers and founding fathers of a more spiritually advanced humanity. Tremendous creative power is generated when a group comes together in focused practice. If you seek to work with others, be aware of the positive potential and proceed with integrity and care. The patron goddess of Sadir is Freya, the Norse goddess with an insatiable appetite for pleasure, life, sensuality, the finer things, and unconditional freedom to be as she chooses. She is also a goddess of war. Hence, she is not afraid to enter into battle nor love. Her husband Odin is associated with prophecy, inspiration, and ecstasy. When he is away from her, she weeps red gold tears. No stranger to suffering or ecstatic pleasure, Freya is the divine vulva. She reminds humanity of both our innate spiritual power to embrace all of life and the inner spiritual resources we have to make it through any difficulty without compromising our hearts. The art of Sadir is one of the collective dreaming and doing. It is the ability to move in darkness, to become wise to our own potential, to become manipulative, controlling, and therefore negative, and to outsmart that by consciously choosing to bring love, freedom, spiritedness, and passion the hallmarks of our presiding sorceress Freya into our lives. The message of this oracle is that you are able to bring a positive influence into whatever situation or circumstances unfold in your life. Dedicate yourself to goodness. Believe in your power to affect positive change. Oh my goodness, Libra. The reading and that card, right? Talked about those choices in the beginning, that Two of Pentacles energy. If you do good, it is seen, it is marked, it is remembered. If you don't, the same, right? I'm going to say my plea to you is, if you have found yourself sitting in any of the negatives that we talked about, ask yourself where that comes from. Because again, I'm going back to the maternal instinct that, or the maternal figure. It's probably where you learned it from. And I think that most likely they were coming from a place of protecting the self. You've got to ask yourself if your circumstances and situations are really the same as theirs, or are they encouraging, or have they ever encouraged you to take on their pain? It's very, very important to remember that. But it's time to heal, Libra. I think the next 18 months are going to be very significant for you. It's learning how to work well with others even when you don't want to. It's learning forgiveness and compassion. It's opening up the heart space. It's a massive change for who you are. So, Libra, if you found that this resonated for you, please hit that like button, subscribe again if you've not done so. If you guys want to take a personal, deeper, intuitive dive into your specific situation, that information is found in the description box below and the About section of the page. Again, you can find me also at holisticallyzenwb.com for a full list of products and services that I offer. So our store is on there. We got all new stuff coming. I'm super excited. I love my crystals, right? Like, there we go. There's one of them. Pray Night. I love the stuff that we get in. It's amazing. Get yourself an Atlas Jasper heart. I'm not trying to sell anything, but I'm like, oh, my heart's here. But check it out. This is Atlas Jasper. Very, very beautiful stone. So talking about that heart space. There you go. Work with that. All right, Libra. I'm wishing you guys all the very best. Sending you tons of love, support, guidance, and protection. Work through your shit. I promise at the other side of that, you're going to feel a lot better if you do. Sending you so much love. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.